Hello everyone, my name is Eli Lopes. Today I'm going here to show you how to configure disaster recovery for OCI GoldenGate. It's a pretty new feature that has been released in the last weeks. So let's just jump into the architecture diagram. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here today, it's basically, I would say, a standard and one of the most used topologies for GoldenGate, where you have, for example, an Oracle database as a source. After you have GoldenGate for Oracle to capture data, sends the data over the distribution path to the GoldenGate for big data, and this replicating to Apache Kafka, could be other source. Also, instead of here the big data, it could be, for example, for a SQL Server. So you can always build the different integrations as you want using GoldenGate. What we are going to see here, it's basically how you can use the disaster recovery. The first part is to configure the manage option. This step is not related to the disaster recovery, but mainly we need to configure this in order to have the extract and the replicate start automatically after the switchover. Okay. Also, this is a best practice. Uh, Even that you don't have a disaster recovery for any reason, something happens in the database, you lose the connection, the extract abandons. If you have this configured, it's going to retry X amount of times. Okay, so this is one of the first steps. After is to enable the disaster recovery for just one of the deployments. I have already one deployment with the peer active. Okay, so I'm going to do this in the other deployment. After perform the switchover in both deployments at the same time, almost perform some insert during the switchover, and then we validate the data is replicated while the deployment was doing the switchover. Okay, so let me just skip here the presentation, and let me just here show you what I have. So well, I just get signed out on both, so I'm just going to log in. So let me just type the username, put the password. And I'm going here to extract, okay? And I'm just going to change what I said about the manage options. So here, instead of default, I'm going to change to custom, okay? So here, this option to critical to deployment health, if you enabled for OCI GoldenGate, what is going to do it, in case that this extract is abandoned state, the health of the deployment is going to be lower than 100. So the normal standard is to have deployment with health of 100, and that after you can generate an alert, something like that, based on this option. Okay, pretty useful for production environments. So here I'm just going to put here on the auto start. I'm just going to say to wait 30 seconds, for example, and now for the restart, this is going to be the default 9 times. It's going to wait, for example, 4 minutes or 3 minutes for each retry, and this is going to happen during a retry window of 30 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to click submit. Okay, and now just to take effect, I'm just going to click OK. I sorry to stop, and now I'm going to start. So now let me just start the the extract. Okay. So this was the first part. Now let me just go here to the OCI console. Now I'm going here to the GoldenGate part. I have already two deployments up and running, as I showed you. This one that is for Oracle, it's already with the disaster recovery enabled. You can see here, standby active. Now I'm going to do the same for the GoldenGate for big data. Okay, so here under disaster recovery, I'm going to put add peer. You can let the service decide which is the best availability domain and fault domain, or you can select manually. Okay, so for example, I'm going now to select the AD3 and the fault domain 1. But again, it's up to you. and I'm just going to click add. Okay. So while we have here this creating, is going to take a couple of minutes, around 10 minutes. Let me just here to show you 2 or 3 configurations that are not covered here during the presentation. Let me just click here to start. Not sure why it wasn't stopped. So, for example, I have already the extract up and running. Of course, I had to create a distribution path, and after here on the target, that is the GoldenGate Big Data, I have my replica that is up and running. Okay, so I did some tests before starting recording, so I have already here, for example, a record, okay, which is not going to happen here because I just stopped the extract. So now what I'm going to do I'm going to pause the video for a little bit because I just want to have here this step completed. And once it's completed, I have the disaster recovery enabled on this deployment. Okay, so let me just pause for a couple of minutes. So the GoToGate for Big Data has already the disaster recovery enabled. Okay, so before I do the next step, that is perform the switchover, basically I'm just going here to do a quick test. Okay, something like this to show you that we have the integration between the ADB and Kafka working. Okay, so here I expect to have here now a new insert. Okay, so I had already previously insert data, and now I should see here. So this is the new record. So it's exactly the same as this one. Okay. So the next step is to perform the switchover. The switchover is going to take around, well, I would say 20 minutes. It depends a lot of the region and so on. So let me just do it. Here we go here to this one and we click switchover. And now I'm going to the big data one and do exactly the same, switchover. And now I just need to wait 1 to 2 minutes to lose the service because right now I still have the service. So let's just wait 1 to 2 minutes. So let me just refresh. Okay. Here I don't have the service anymore. And here again, so I have this 502 bad gateway. So sorry, what I'm going to do it meanwhile is basically here do some inserts. Okay. That I suppose that we should have it later. Okay, so let me just do a new insert. Sorry, let me just run this. And now if I bring Kafka, so as you can see here, it's not replicating because it's doing the switchover. So let me just do one more. Okay. So I suppose that after the switchover finish, we should have here new data. So as I said, this is going to take a couple of minutes. Basically, I'm just going to check here once this is finished, and I'm going to resume the video, okay? So we can see that the switchover is done on both deployments, okay? So here, not here, yeah, it's also done. Now let me just refresh page for both. So here and here. Now I just need to log in again. Now let me just log in the other deployment. Also is done. Now let me just check the extract is up and running. If you remember, I did some inserts here, so let me just check. I have here the 2 inserts. Now let me go here to the replicate, also the 2 inserts. And if I bring Kafka. So I have here my two inserts, 76, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, so that was the latest one. And it's here. So as you can see, even that we did during the switchover some operations, the service after just starts from the last checkpoint that was registered and replicates the data properly. So I hope that you have enjoyed this demo. See you soon. Bye.